Good morning, it's your man Earl. Welcome to Morning Meditations. Today is day 84 on the calendar. Illinois #3, meaning that we are in our 14th? No, we are on our 8th day of federal self-quarantine, and we are on our 3rd day of Illinois self-quarantine. So what's today's subject matter? We're talking about economic instability, how to avoid it. How to avoid economic instability. And you may say to yourself, well, Brother Earl, you can't control what goes on at the federal level. No, you can't. You can't control what goes on at the state level. No, you can't. But let me tell you what you can control. You can control what goes on in your back pocket and in your household. Whether your house is 1,000 square feet, 5,000 square feet, or 500 square feet, you can control what goes on in your domain, dwelling, whatever that may be. Okay, so we're going to talk about today how to avoid economic instability. And as morning meditation, we want to pull a scripture this morning. One of my favorites is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. And we're coming from the Living Bible. Says this: steady plotting brings prosperity. Hasty speculation brings poverty. Some of my NIV readers would say something like this: the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. So, once again, how do you avoid economic instability in the midst of all of this stuff going on with seasonal sickness, Wall Street, stock markets up and down? Businesses now are closed if you're not deemed an essential business. People are closing. Restaurants now are only allowing for carry out. Thank God that those people are still working. And so we're looking around at a society that has fundamentally changed in the last 7-8 days. Okay? Can't go in restaurants now. You got to do carry out. Go to a coffee shop. You have to go in, get your coffee, and leave. Some coffee shops aren't even open. All right, drive-through only, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do personally to avoid economic instability in your house. Okay, number one thing that you can do is you need to take these 14 days, these 7 days, these 20 days, whatever country or state that you're living in right now. I'm sure they're either already on self-quarantine, or they're going to be quarantining, or you are experiencing the federal quarantine. So what should you be doing during these 14, 15, 20 days? You should be looking for additional sources of income. We talked about this before. I'm not going to rehash it, being eBay and going back to Amazon, but now I'm going to add another layer to it. Some of you have great talent that you guys have been sitting on for years. Some of you guys play the piano. You're not playing the piano anywhere. Some of you are writers, journalists. You could be editing books from home. Some of you guys have a great voice. You could be doing voiceovers at your home computer. Some of you guys, I've even know a young lady who her hands she has attractive hands, and so she could be a hand model. And back in the days when I produced traditional music, I had her hands holding some of my CDs as promotional pieces, and her hands, she just had attractive hands, and so she was holding my CDs on certain pictures, and it was it was easy to look at. She had attractive hands. Okay, so a lot of you guys have all these different talents, skill sets, abilities that you're not putting to use, that you could be earning extra income. What's the goal? An additional $250 to $1,000 a month will change most of everybody's life. I don't care how much money you make. If you're already making $100,000 a year, if somebody gave you another check for $250, you could do something with that. That's a additional savings. That's an additional paying down one of your car payments. That's an additional helping you to pay off your mortgage quicker. So don't get caught up in the amount of what it is. Get caught up right now in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 on developing those ancillary incomes, right? Because if you already have a spouse or a significant other, you guys are already having 2 incomes. But now let's look at that 3rd and 4th income, okay? And look at your skill sets. Don't look at trying to go do something and go get trained again. Look at what do you already do that you could be getting paid for, okay? Number 2, the second powerful thing that you can do that can help you avoid economic instability is get a budget and stick to your budget. Now, those are 2 separate things, and I know that, so I'm just gonna combine them. Getting a budget. Now, why is that significant? Here's what it is. Approximately 67% of America says that they have a budget. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. 67% of people that live in this country say they have a budget. But now let's look at the meat. And it took me about 4 or 5 hours to actually find these numbers. And so I knew it was going to be tough. Just because you say you have something doesn't actually mean that you have one. And I was looking for that. So now out of that 67%, only 1/3 of the 67% write it down. And here's where it gets crazy. They only write it down on a scratch piece of paper, which means that's not a budget because you're flying from your memory. You're flying from the hip. But now, at least you write it down. At least you write it down. Now, is it concrete? No. And this is where another dimension in budget comes into play. Only 20% of people out of that 67% have their budget in their mind, which means it's all over the place. Okay, it's all over the place. Now, notice I couldn't find a solid percentage of how many people actually have a written budget that reflects where their money goes month after month, 30 day after 30 day. Why? Because it's so tough to get people to hold themselves accountable. So I'm challenging you to get a budget, and it's going to take you 30 days, 40 days, 50 days to actually, well, it's going to take you longer than that. It's going to take you 6 months to actually follow it. But it can take you 2 or 3 days to get it, okay? And during this period of economic instability, you need to know where your money is going. So if you have a little notepad like this, okay, when you get paid, start writing down where your money goes. Like that check register that we don't use anymore because we have debit cards. See, that check register was a very powerful tool because it showed you where your money was going, aka balance your checkbook. See, we don't do those things anymore. Why? Because everything's digital, okay? And that's why a lot of us are in the financial situation that we're in, all right? To the tune of, some people say, between $2 and $4 trillion in personal debt. Why? Because we don't know where our money's going. All right. And then the third thing, and we're done for today. How do you avoid economic instability? Well, you continue to support the small businesses that you have been previous to this self-quarantine, previous to the seasonal sickness. What do you mean by that, Brother Earl? Aren't we supposed to be saving? Yes, but your budget saves for you, not you. So if you get your hair done every 2 weeks, get your hair done every 2 weeks. Why? Because that beautician is counting on you to come into her salon. Or if you get your hair done at your home, or you go to her home, or you go to his house to get your hair cut, that barber is counting on you to come and get your hair cut. Why? Because that's how he lives his life. See, you can avoid economic instability by continuing to support those small businesses that you support and you patronize already. See, when you stop supporting small business, that's when the economy comes to a screeching halt, because now people are afraid to spend any money, and that's not true. Okay, that's when things go kaput, and that's why a lot of people on TV are making very strong statements because they understand that consumer confidence, that's a very fancy phraseology, but it's very true. If people are not confident in the economy, they won't spend any money. And that's when the economy comes to a screeching halt. So you support that stylist, that barber, that cosmetologist. What about people who, quote unquote, cut the grass? We have a guy that cuts our grass. And guess what? I can guarantee you he's probably thinking about right now how many people are going to come back that were clients last year. And I'm gonna give him a call today, tomorrow, and say, hey, listen, man, when you start cutting the grass again. Why? Because I understand consumer confidence and economic instability. You don't want to be the guy that holds up your circle of economic instability. You want to continue to support people that you supported before. Those independent clothing stores, independent barbers, independent services, all those things. All right. Don't come to a screeching halt. All right. And here's an extra credit. Here's the fourth piece. Well, I only had three, but here's number four. Here's extra credit. Don't look at the stock market. Don't look at Wall Street. Okay. Don't look at those things because those things will fool you. What do I mean by that? Those companies have insurance policies on top of their insurance policies that they hedge and they bet against themselves. You don't believe me? Just go look at Enron. Go look at some of these companies that have gone bankrupt 5, 10, 15 years ago, and you'll still see a lot of these people have tons of money. Why? Because they have insurance policies that take care of their insurance policies. And so the small business owner doesn't have that. He's not layered with insurance policies that continually support him when things go south, if you will, or things become unstable. Okay? You know, a lot of these sports leagues, they're insured. And that's why you have a lot of these athletes stepping up and saying, hey, I will cover this month's worth of wages for the arena employees. Why? Because they understand that it is the small business owner, it is the hourly wage worker that is the backbone of our economy. We have a consumer-based economy, and that's why I'll go back to our morning meditation. Steady plotting, aka a steady budget, brings prosperity. But hasty speculation, and we all fight against hasty speculation. We all fight against the temptation to speculate. Oh, if I buy this today, I'll make it up next week or make it up next month. That's all part of being hasty with our spending. Okay? This your man Earl, day 84 on the calendar, Illinois, day 3. Let us avoid economic instability. Click the links below. Support the small businesses in your area, in your town, in your community. God bless you. God keep you. And I thank you guys for supporting my small business. Some of you guys are still ordering t-shirts, hats, skull caps. We have our new pink and purple God can coming out probably tomorrow. I will post some pictures and those will be available for order and we'll ship them right to you wherever you are in the continental U.S., North America, and then in Hawaii, Alaska. God bless you. God keep you. Peace.